For the debate, the member from Cambridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to congratulate the member for Dufferin-Caledon for her motion. I think it's a very important motion, and I'm going to support it wholeheartedly. And I would ask members of this House to do the same thing. You know, one of the words that we hear often from that side of the House, Mr. Speaker, is the word balance. And several months ago, earlier in this session, the NDP proposed a motion to roll back the corporate tax cuts on the government side. They voted against it. Yesterday, when our Leader of the Opposition proposed a motion to keep that corporate tax cuts, the plan for corporate tax cuts, the government decided to vote against that too. Not sure how that strikes anyone as having any semblance of balance. To me, it's more on the verge of teetering on the side of chaos. Mr. Speaker. We don't know where that side stands, and I think the same thing can apply to what we're talking about in this case, Mr. Speaker. They want to get to the bottom of the scandal at Orange, right to the bottom, and they know how to dig their holes. They have a $16 billion deficit. We haven't even uncovered the scope of what's happening at Orange. So they say that on the one hand, but on the other hand, Mr. Speaker, they're not going to support a motion, potentially not support a motion that would ask and protect the very people who will allow them to get to the bottom of this problem. I find that very strange, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure why they wouldn't support a motion that actually helps them get toward their desired goal. And I kind of have an answer to that question, Mr. Speaker. I know one of the famous Liberal heroes on that side of the House is former Prime Minister Mackenzie King. When asked Prime Minister Mackenzie King about why and how successful he was in politics, he told the interested biographer that he never let his left hand know what his right hand was doing. If you believe that, Mr. Speaker. Don't understand what this left hand is doing because they're not understanding what this right hand is doing. Well, that's pretty interesting, Mr. Speaker. It's about keeping people, either keeping people informed, which is what they say on the one hand, but not allowing us to get that information on the other. It's the key to the Liberal success. I think I've just uncovered it, Mr. Speaker, and I think what happens inevitably is that Ontarians suffer. Mr. Speaker, the member for Willowdale says that members of the public who appear before committees have an implicit protection when they speak at committees. The member for Dufferin-Caledon's motion is asking for an explicit protection, Mr. Speaker. Explicit in the sense that when a member comes before the committee, that they are secure and they are protected from any information that they're willing to provide to members of this House, in that committee and members in this House. So my question is, why wouldn't you support that? It's just codifying, in essence, what already exists according to the member from Willowdale. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, people will be much more open to come forward if they feel more secure from being punished. I also want to quote, Mr. Speaker, some words from Sean Young, who did some work on whistleblowing. He suggests that at its root, an active whistleblowing is concerned with responsibility and accountability, and he italicizes those two things, Mr. Speaker, with ensuring that those charged with acting on behalf of the best interest of others do so, and that their failure to satisfy effectively that duty will generate negative consequences for them. He then goes on to quote Fred Alford, who defines a whistleblower as anyone who speaks out in the name of public good within an organization. Young continues, more precisely, whistleblowing is typically understood to refer to the act of disclosing information about a wrongdoing to someone who can help ensure that the wrongdoing ceases and that its perpetrator is held accountable for his or her actions. Mr. Speaker, that's what members on this side of the House want. They want to hold the perpetrators to account so that we can hold them responsible for what they've done if any wrongdoing does in fact exist. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.